Well, as we roll into autumn of 2025, we're back over in Taranaki for the annual Taranaki Kayak Fishing Classic competition. We're just heading in to get signed up and all set to go for the weekend of fishing. Just saying hi to a few mates here at sign up. I'm going to sign my life away and then we're going to have a bit of a relax, catch up with a few mates, have a few yarns about the fishing that we've experienced in the last 12 months, and we're going to throw it over to Weston to introduce us to the competition.
Hey, welcome on behalf of the Taranaki Kayak Fishing Club. Welcome to everybody here tonight. This is our. So what? How many years is this now, Jimmy?
16 years.
16 years. Sure. I thought it was longer than that. 16 years. So this is the 16th Taranaki Kayak Fishing Classic. So welcome everybody. The old faces. There's a lot of old faces here. That have been coming to this comp for a long time, and it's good to catch up. There's not many kayak fishing comps in New Zealand anyway, so we're proud to be the biggest. Today we clocked 150 kayakers.
Righto everyone, we're just heading out of sign up now. We've seen everyone and it's not looking that good on the weather this year, so we're going to do what we can. We're going to fish the morning. The first day we've got a bit of a gap, so we should get out and into some fish, hopefully a few good ones. And Sunday, who knows what's going to happen that day. It's pretty blown out by the looks, so yeah, let's see where we end up anyway. Yeah, let's get in the truck. Are you going to be fishing?
Who?
Me? You, I'm filming.
Oh, I might.
I don't want to do that.
First time.
In 8 years, first time fishing. So hopefully land something, that'd be good. Kind of got a plan. Gonna be a bloody early morning, but oh well, we gotta kind of make the most of it. Anyway, all right, let's get on the road. As always, the Friday before the Classic had this hint of anticipation before the fishing the next day. Who knows what would turn up in the Burley Trail. On the Saturday morning, it was a lazy 4:30 AM start. We got on the road and started heading north towards our spot. At this point, the sun was still an hour and a half away, but I decided there shouldn't be any screwing around and I'd get the kayak straight on the water and launch into the darkness with the waves coming in. Knowing that it was a very, very good swell forecast for up north, it was a pretty easy bash through a couple of tiny waves and I was on my way out into the darkness. Okay, well, good morning everyone, and you probably can't see a whole lot because it's still pitch black and we're heading out off our chosen spot up north this morning. We've got a live piper out the back already, just caught one in the net as I came past. That's promising, hopefully stays alive till I get to a spot where I want to fish. By the looks of this, I'm probably going to head out side this reef and jump on the sand and try and get a gurney, get a snapper, get a kahawai. Might move back in here a bit later on. It's got a bit of reef around. Just keep paddling and get out past this little reef here. See what we can find. With the live piper still swimming around, it got taken pretty quickly. I was hoping this would be something really good. Not the John Dory that I was hoping for, but a nice kahawai to get my Taranaki Classic underway. As the sun crept onto the horizon, the fish began to heat up. It was bites on both rods at the same time, and I was struggling to keep up. A nice panty snapper into the net to get me up to 2 species and just 2 drops. With a half slab of kahawai out the back of the boat, my stray line finally got picked up. This is typically where all the big snapper will come from, so I was hoping this might be a better one.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Oh, that's a nice fish. Beautiful fish. Right, it's a bit hectic at the moment, but we've got our first nice snap. Probably 2.5, 3 kilo maybe. Just get that in the morning sun. Cool. Right, we'll take a quick photo and we'll get him in the back, and we've got to wind this in, get the stray line back out because the big ones are smashing the stray line. So hopefully we'll get that stray line out into a big one, and let's get back to fishing. GoPro, stop recording.
And it didn't take long for that next bait to get inhaled too. Despite being a perfect eating size, it was back to the drink for this snapper as it wasn't bigger than the last one. I was throwing an even bigger bait to try and get past some of those smaller ones. Another nice solid kahawai picked up the ledger rig, so this one looked like it was going to be a nice upgrade. Another half slab of kahawai got sent out. And that bait would be converted into a monstrous hookup that was going to be towing me straight towards the rocks. I needed to really slow this fish down if I was going to stand a chance.
No. Banging, don't.
I could feel this fish had got hung up on some rocks, so it was time to back the drag down, put it in the holder, get that anchor up, and chase it down. If I could just idle up to above where this fish was hung, hopefully I could get it out. And luckily, I think I've got him out. But I'm not out of the woods yet.
Stop, stop, stop. Oh, please be a big snap. Oh, no, don't go back down there. No, don't go back down there. Don't go back down there. Don't drop it. No, he's still there. What the fuck is that? Shark. Ah, ray. Eagle ray.
The mystery fish that was dragging me all over the place turned out to be a lovely little eagle ray. It really did behave like a snapper, so I was a little disappointed, but it was the first one of these I'd ever landed on the kayak. I quickly got the hook out and sent the eagle ray on his way. With that out of the way, I was back on the anchor and into the snapper again. This was another one in that 2 kilo sort of bracket.
Not quite large enough to be keeping, but a nice little scrap anyway on the heavier gear. And I had to pop him in the holder because the stray line had just made a bit of a noise. So I wound into that, and it felt like there was not a bad fish on there.
Ooh, big eel.
Many of these quality snapper have just been sent home, and good to see them swim away nice and fast. As all my larger fish were coming from the stray line, it was a bit of a patient wait until this little crack here. This was another perfect eating fish in that sort of 45 centimeter range, but not quite good enough for me, so away he went. And not long after, my ledger rig rod went off too. And again, another quality snapper. Lovely fish, this one. But again, yeah, probably just going to let him go and cast another stray line out. The back of the trail was starting to heat up with some pretty decent fish. So I was hoping I might get another hour casting big baits into it.
This might be a good one. Took a half a skipjack with big head shakes.
This one was slightly bigger than all the rest of the fish I'd landed so far, so I decided to put him in the back too to add to all of the nice fish I already had. And looking to the south, I could see the wind was about to pick up big time. So I quickly got all the gear in, the anchor in the boat, and set to getting back to shore. And sure enough, that wind hit pretty hard. Once I was on the beach, I had a look at what Holly had caught, who was my teammate for this year, and she'd got 4 species, so she was doing pretty good. And over in mine, we had a nice gurnard that I missed on the camera, and some nice snapper, and a kahawai, so not really too bad at all.
Righto, well, we're on the road heading back towards New Plymouth, and we've been out for the morning. It's just 12:30 now. That wind really chopped up fast and about when it said it was at 11 o'clock, but we got a nice calm morning to fish. Some of the boys, they got a couple of snapper, I think in the 80 centimeter range, so those could be good contenders in this crappy weather, but who knows what's come from up further to the north. Quite a few of us got 3 or 4 species. I think the most I've seen is probably 3, but someone's definitely probably got 4. So I end up with gurnard, kahawai and snapper. My gurnard, yeah, you know, that's not a bad fish really. It's probably in mid-40s, I think just under 800 grams, so that's pretty good fish to weigh. So what we're doing is we're going back to New Plymouth. We're gonna have to wait a little bit until the weigh-in opens at 2, and then we'll get there as soon as it opens, and then straight from there down to the port. So off to the weigh-in we went with our 3 nice fish. Snapper went 2.6 kilos, our gurnard 780 grams, and our kahawai just over 2 kilos at 2.01. This here was the new leader on day 1 for snapper at 9.8 kilos. Look how thick these snapper are in Taranaki. Ooh. That's all done now. Nice big snapper to Josh there. Let's get going. Let's go get a JD, hey? So with the afternoon being blown out by the southerly, the only option I really had was to jump into the port. And this is pretty normal for me. I'll get in here in the evening and try and find my John Dory, and it looks pretty windy, but we'll get out there and we'll set up a little trail and see if we can't find one. So I was lucky enough to get a live bait pretty early on after having a pretty tough time. So my 5-burrow KLT will just go through the nose of the bait and over he goes. Now as you see there, he's underneath the camera and I'm going to try and film one on the camera. So down he goes. We're going to keep an eye on this bait as he goes down. And something to note is how dirty that water is. This weekend there was a dredge working, so it was really, really dirty, and I've had to edit the footage so that the bait can just barely be seen. As we go deeper and deeper down to about a depth of 11 meters, the water gets even worse. So we're going to keep heading down, and now our bait's set. I'm just going to keep the clip rolling at 2 times speed because I want you to know how fast this happens. So the bait's only been down there about a minute and a half so far. The bait's swimming all around. And right on cue, here comes a JD. He doesn't mess around and immediately gets the bait down. Now as we watch him mouthing the bait, you can actually see him backing up, trying to get that bait down and beginning to try and swallow it. Now at this stage, the JD has had the bait in his mouth for almost a minute, and I have no clue that a fish has even taken my bait on the rod. He's just sitting there. I'm pretty sure he's having a tough time because of the line, and he can feel it on his mouth, and now he's going to turn his head, starting to really get the bait down. He's still sitting on it for a long time. Shocking, to be honest, how long this JD is sitting on this bait. Just still sat there. It's a really, really cool shot to sort of take away some of the mystery of how they eat their food. At last he's going to move away and the hook's going to penetrate the corner of the mouth. And we've got him. This is the point where I can now see that something's taken the bait and I'm going to wind into him. No way. Yeah boy, yeah boy, yeah boy. Get in there. Yes! On the camera. Wasn't down there for 5 seconds. Since the bait was still alive in his throat, I decided to grab it out, chuck it back on the hook, and send it back down there. Well, we got one, and you'll be able to see it on the underwater camera because we went and bloody caught it on the underwater camera. So yeah, first JD in a very long time, to be honest. Just a little guy, probably about a kilo. But we got it on the camera, so I'm very, very happy. Yeah, so let's get him in the back. We'll try and get a bigger one.
I managed to catch a couple more little jackmacks, so the second rod on the left hand side of the boat now had one sent down too, so we'd have a total of 2 jackmacks swimming around underneath the boat, bringing out those really nice tail beats to hopefully bring in some more John Dory. So yeah, I've got one down here on the camera on the right hand side, and there's a few little snapper down there by the looks. Having a look at what's going on in the burley trail, just really small though. Later in the footage, this mackerel really wants to stay next to the camera, so that's a very big sign that something is trying to eat him. So he really just keeps coming back up to the camera. So there's obviously a John Dory hunting around there that we can't see on the camera currently. And geez, that mackerel's pretty beat up, but he's still swimming good, so hopefully one of them might come and find him soon. A little while later, I caught a nice little kahawai. These guys can be just as good as the jackmacks, as you can see how much that tail is putting out into the area, so hopefully a John Dory might come and find him. And if you look here, this kahawai gets absolutely monstered by this John Dory. And off the Dory goes. Very different bite. He's immediately swimming away and hooked straight away, unlike the last one. After that little burst, John Dory usually go very quiet. And this is a very good representation of that. They do a few little runs like that, trying to get it out, but mostly they just let you bring them up.
This is the only trouble.
So that was now our second John Dory on my third drop, so pretty good going so far. The bite was pretty hot today, so yeah, let's hopefully get another one maybe. So our next jackmack is now heading down towards the bottom, and he's not too happy. He's seen what's coming for him. Here comes a John Dory from underneath and right up onto him, looking right at him. And you can see how thin the fish are when they're in hunting mode. Very thin, like a pancake. This mackerel, he's up near the camera trying to get away from him. The John Dory's coming in. He wants to eat him, but he's not quite sure about it. He's really taking a good look at the rig, which is something I wouldn't expect out of them. They're not the smartest of fish. But yeah, he's really taking a good look at it all, looking at the rig, looking at the fish, and even at the camera. You can see he wants it because he's angling up towards it, but he's just not committing. So he's going to swim away, and maybe he might go to the other rod. Sure enough, not 2 seconds later, my other rod's gone off, so let's wind into it and see if we can get him up.
There's like a better one. Yeah, it's a better one. Way better. It's bigger than I think it is. Hell.
Now we're starting to get somewhere with this fish being in the mid-40s, round about that 1.5 kilo mark.
Right, well we've 3 from 3 now. Just got our first nice one in about 2 years, so pretty happy with that. Yeah, 2 eats on the camera so far, and finally nice one to take home. Epic. Got one? Yeah.
Yeah, I got one about the same size. I've got him out at the island though.
Oh, all the way out there.
Our next bait was rigged up and sent down back to the left-hand side. But over on our right rod, there was another John Dory looking right at him. He was not happy either. He was right up near the camera trying to escape. And he was doing a pretty good job of it because the John Dory wasn't too sure about the bait being right up against the camera. That's just what you get when you have that massive thing down there with the bait. May have taken it if that camera wasn't there, but it's still cool footage to see them interacting with the bait. And yeah, he's really hunting it down, but not committing. Looks like now he's heading off towards the other bait, so let's see what happens there. And yep, you betcha, he's gone straight over to the left-hand side of the boat, picked that bait up, and yeah, he's actually given me a little bit of a scrap here, so it's probably a better dory than I think. So just winding him in slowly in this wind, but yep, that's what happens sometimes. They just let it go, the hook's not in properly. So we'll head back down to the bottom view on the right side, and yep, he's gone back up onto the bait and taking a look at it, but he's just not really interested enough. He keeps coming up on it, taking a look, slinking away back down to the bottom. See, he'll come up again here from underneath. Barely able to see him. They're so camouflaged, these fish. Just incredibly thin for the size of the fish when looking at them straight on. And there you see the spot and the unique dorsal fin that they have. Slinking away again. So I think he does come back one final time to take one little final look, but he's not going to take it. So yeah, we'll have to wait a little bit longer to see if we get another bite. So about an hour later, I'd taken the camera off and the bait started getting really antsy, so I picked up the rod, and by the looks of that, got probably another John Dory that's come into the area, and we got him on. So that makes our 5th John Dory for the session, 5 from 6. So that's very, very good hookup ratio compared to normal.
Too tasty.
So with my 5th John Dory in the back, I decided that it was now getting a little bit late and the weather wasn't really getting any better, so it was time to head in.
Right, so we're finished up with day 1. It ended up going pretty good in the end. We've got lots of JDs to take home to eat. Travelled a long way, so might as well take some top quality fish home. Yeah, we've got a few fish to weigh anyway for tomorrow, and we'll probably head back here tomorrow. Yeah, we've got to try and sort that trev or a kingfish.
There are not many places in the country where you could expect to catch this many John Dory in one day, so feeling pretty blessed to have managed all of these excellent tasting fish. There was now a little bit of a pack up, have a chat to a few mates coming past, and get ready to have a sleep and get up early, ready to do it all again tomorrow.
Well, morning team, we're out here at the port with the entire flotilla of boats, and we've got a pretty shitty forecast, but we'll see what we can do. We might nose out near the cliffs and see if we can sit there, but everyone's here, so I think we'll be having a chat with a few people rather than fishing, but yeah, let's see what we can do anyway.
With so little wind first thing, it was looking promising that I might be able to get out a bit further than I was thinking. But when I got to the shipping channel, it was pretty apparent that the gusts were way too high to head any further out to sea. Well, we weren't going to waste any time, and we'll get a live bait down and sit here in this wind. Bait was even easier to come by today, as there were massive schools of jack mackerel and blue mackerel sitting underneath the boat at all times. So this was going to mean lots of John Dory in the area. And as soon as the bait was down, there was already a John Dory looking at it. So it looked very promising. About 10 minutes later, I had my first bite of the morning.
Properly yet.
This one was a pretty average 1.2 kilo dory. I thought about letting it go, but since I was going to be heading home tomorrow, I decided to pop him in the back to take home. This lovely fish added my 6th from 7 bites. John Dory definitely seemed to travel in packs, so when the rod went off again soon after, it wasn't that surprising. This was another nice fish, and I got him up nice and easy. Perfectly hooked in the corner of the mouth. Gave me a little bit of trouble at the net, but you just got to be patient with them and get them in as soon as you can.
Hey, he's got a bit of weight there. Nah. Got to be sort of 50 centimeters to get over 2 kilo. Cool fish, eh? Oh my god. Bye.
The next JD came with the flurry of 3, and this was another nice fish, definitely up towards where I was hoping. Since I already had so many John Dory on ice, I decided that this one would be going home. They're a bit of a weirdo when they release sometimes, as he was just using his fins, but once he touched the line, he was away. The wind had been gusting up to 25 knots all morning, so once it got towards 2 PM, it was time to come in and head off to the weigh-in to see if anyone had snuck onto the leaderboard.
Right, well we've just come in from our morning session at the port. I did pretty good again on JDs. Went 3 from 5. One of them I felt like was a pretty good one, but dropped him unfortunately, but that's the way it goes. But yeah, let's I wonder if my gurnard's still sitting there in second. Who knows, maybe not, but yeah, we'll get this kayak on and we'll head up to the weigh-in and see how many people have actually got out today. All right, anyway, let's get packed up.
So we headed to the weigh-in and we had a massive bin full of John Dory. Don't see this too often anywhere in the country, so I got one of my nicer ones up towards 1.6, and I think it was around 1.6 kilos that it weighed. So not a bad fish. And then I took them all over to the filleting bench, and it's not too often you see this many John Dory getting filleted at once at the Taranaki Classic. So yeah, we watched the rest of the fish come in the afternoon. Nothing huge really came through the door because the weather was so gusty. So most people had just been sitting in close, catching JDs and kahawai and bits and pieces. As per usual, Alistair was coming in right at the last second with his catch, making Nick on the left there very, very nervous for his John Dory that was sitting in first. But thankfully for him, it was nowhere near. So overall, it was a pretty quiet Taranaki Classic for me, apart from these absolutely epic shots of the John Dory I managed to film. So I can walk away happy from this competition with some really spectacular footage, and look forward to the next one, where we might actually get a decent year to head out really, really wide. But anyway, I'm going to throw it to the outro, and I'll see you at the 2026 Classic.
Righto everyone, we're done with the comp for this year again. Just about to get on the road back to Hawke's Bay, and yeah, we're taking home some lovely John Dory fillets and some gurnard, so I'm really can't complain with that. And the big one was filming those John Dory on the underwater camera, so that'll be epic footage. I'm sure you'll enjoy that in the video, and a lot of the boys were pretty interested to see how the John Dory bite over here in the Naki, so that'll be epic. Anyway, we're all set, let's jump on the road. Thanks everyone for watching the big Taranaki vid for this year, 2025 I think we are now, so 9 years of doing it so far, so it'll be number 10 for me next time. Anyway, have a good one everyone, and I'll catch you next time.